15-minute cities are just open-air prisons.
They want to track and limit your every move.
Smart cities just say no.
Think, because it's not illegal yet. Preserve and maintain your liberty and your freedoms from evil and conspiring men. Know your legal rights and hold your elected officials accountable.
If we don't act now, the end will prevail. Human spirit crushed like a ship without a sail. Are you ready to fight for freedom and liberty?
Taking the jabs, and people thought it was nuts until all of a sudden they were told they have to keep wearing masks even after they got jabbed. And then they were told they had to take a second jab and a third jab and a fourth jab. And then all of a sudden it wasn't so crazy. So back to what I was saying. So COVID was to do two things. The first thing was to train us that our rights and freedoms are now selfish and dangerous. And the second thing was to get rid of the notion of individual responsibility and replace it with collective responsibility, straight out of Marxism and communism. And what do I mean by that? Perfect example. You need to wear the mask to protect me and to protect grandma and to protect the other people. So why do they want us to believe that rights and freedoms were no longer important? And why do they want us to embrace collective responsibility? Because the next phase of their agenda, which they call Agenda 2030 or whatever else you want to call it, from the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, and all these world bodies, is to entrench the same type of COVID-style lockdowns on us indefinitely under the guise of climate change. So now they've developed an entire new level, and I call it layers of tyranny. They have the 15-minute cities combined with what they're going to call personal carbon allowances. Write that one down, guys. Personal carbon allowances. And eventually that's going to be combined with the digital identity and a digital currency and a universal basic income at that point, because people are going to be so broke they're not going to be able to afford anything.
Well, I saw that video. I saw the video you did where you were showing the screen and you were showing like, hey, and if you eat this, this is what it's your carbon. So it's reducing it by what's the percentage, like 80 or something?
Way more than that. So to break it down, first of all, we have to start with the 15-minute city, because this is where they're going to create the prison grid around you, where you're basically, remember when they told you in COVID, you have to stay 5 kilometers away from your house because you're on lockdown. You can't go more than 5K from your house. They did that virtually all over the world. Well, under the 15-minute city doctrine, you're virtually never going to go more than 5 kilometers away from your house, because a 15-minute city by definition has everything you need within a 15-minute walk or bike ride.
But isn't that so good?
Oh, yes, it's fantastic if you don't want to own a car, you don't want to live in a house, and you want to have restrictions on your everyday movement. But that's just the physical aspect. So if people want to know what a 15-minute city looks like, I was in England. I went to Oxford. Oxford, England was one of the first examples where they put it into play. They divided it into 6 what they call districts. And Edmonton has just done the same thing in Canada, and a lot of other Canadian cities are doing the same thing. And your district is basically 1.5 kilometers in all directions. So basically 5 square kilometers. And in Oxford, England, they already have barriers and actual bollards and barricades between the districts. They already have traffic cameras that can monitor the traffic going in and out of the districts and will automatically fine you because you're only allowed to leave your district on certain days at certain times, unless you get special permission from the government. And now combine that with doing things to drastically reduce vehicle traffic. And I've been in planning and development for 20 plus years. That's my profession. Chris Sky is Sky Homes Corporation. And I've been working in planning and development in the private sector, but having to deal with the government since I was 19 years old. So I understand planning blueprints. I understand traffic studies. I understand all the implications of all the new stipulations they're putting in. So under these 15-minute city doctrine, their number one goal is to reduce private vehicle traffic and private vehicle ownership, because the entire purpose of the 15-minute city is to reduce the average person's carbon footprint. And the number one thing that we have that creates our carbon footprint is our cars. So the way to reduce the carbon footprint the most is by reducing the number of privately owned vehicles. So how are they doing that? Now that they got you in these little districts where everything's within walking distance and you have actual barricades keeping you, well, now they start replacing car lanes with bike and pedestrian lanes. They start replacing parking lots with parks. New developments, instead of having minimum amounts of parking.
In this world of shadows, Let's ride.